with us. We are to connect with you all. I welcome you all for today's session on the topic The Art of Writing Quality Research Papers, an IEEE Perspective. Our expert for today's session is Mr. Ranbir S. Sedhe, sir, who will be joining us shortly. A very pleasant evening to all the panelists and the participants connected with us. It is our pleasure to connect with you all. I welcome you all for today's session on the topic Art of Writing Research Papers, an IEEE Perspective. Our expert for today's session is Mr. Ranbir S. Sedhe, sir, who will be joining us shortly. This is for your information, dear participants, that the recorded video of this session shall be available on our YouTube channel at the earliest by the end of the session. The details can be shared in the chat window. Further, I would like to request you that you can access your chat window. A very pleasant evening to all the a pleasure to connect with you all. The art of writing quality expert for today's who will bring us shortly. This is for your participants. The recorded video of this session shall be available on your YouTube channel at the earliest by the end of the session. The YouTube channel will be shared. I further request you that you can access our chat window. Dear participants, whatever device you are connected through for today's webinar, kindly ensure that you all can chat window from the same. I repeat that the chat window is an important mechanism through which we all will be communicating during this webinar. So any questions you will be having, you can write us on the chat window. I shall be stating the same by asking those questions, but at the end of the session. I also request all the participants that we will be sharing a feedback form link on the chat window for automated generation of the certificate of participation for today's session. So I request you to stay connected with us. Kindly ensure yourself a certificate using your knowledge. chat window. Further, I would request you that you can access your chat window. New Perspective authors may kindly note that Budget being Scopus indexed, published by Springer Nature, accepts only original research papers in computer science and its application domains, not the review. However, keeping in view the NE 2020 recommendation of undertaking multidisciplinary research, we are happy to announce International Journal of Research in Multidisciplinary Studies, an official publication of Bharati Vidyapeeth's Institute of Computer Application by and a very pleasant evening to all the panelists and the participants connected with us. It is our pleasure to connect with you all. I welcome you all for today's session on the topic The Art of Writing Quality Research Papers and IEEE Perspective. Our expert for today's session is Mr. Ranbir S. Sedhe sir, who will be joining us shortly.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Shakshi. How are you?
I'm very well, sir. Hope you're doing good.
Yes.
It's breaking. Sakshi, good evening. Hello. Sakshi.
Hello.
Hello.
Sakshi, good evening. Your voice is breaking.
Good evening, sir.
Your voice is breaking many times. Just check up the mic.
Ajay, how are you? Ajay Thakre ji.
A very pleasant evening to all the panelists and the participants connected with us. It is our pleasure to connect with you all. I welcome you all for today's session on the topic The Art of Writing Quality Research Papers, an IEEE perspective. Expert for today's session is Mr. Ranbir S. Sedhe sir, who will be joining us shortly. This is for your information, dear participants, that the recorded video of this session shall be available on our YouTube channel at the earliest by the end of this session. The details of our YouTube channel will be shared on the chat window. Further, I would like to request you that you can access our chat window. Dear participants, whatever device you are connected through for today's webinar, kindly ensure that you all can access the chat window from the same. I repeat that the chat window is an important mechanism through which we all will be communicating during this webinar. So any questions you will be having, you can write to us on the chat window and I will be addressing the same. But at the end of the session. I also request all the participants that we will be sharing a feedback form link on the chat window for automated generation of the certificate of participation for today's session. Dear participants, kindly ensure that you are connected with us till the last of the session and you own yourself a certificate of participation. If you are not able to join us till the end, please share your certificate with us and we will ensure that you will get your certificate as soon as possible. International Journal of Research in Multidisciplinary Studies, official publication of Bharati Vidyapeeth's Institute of Computer Applications and Management, published biannually by the Institution of Media Professionals, New Delhi.
Hola, sir. Namaste. Good evening.
गुड इवनिंग एवरीवन एंड गुड इवनिंग भाटिया
Good
साहब।
evening. Good evening, sir. Good evening.
कैसे हैं? सब ठीक है?
सब ठीक ठाक है.
गुड, वंडरफुल।
A very pleasant evening to all the panelists and the participants connected with us. Very pleasant evening to all the panelists and the participants connected with us. It is our pleasure to connect with you all. I welcome you all for today's session on the topic The Art of Writing Quality Research Papers, an IEEE Perspective. Our expert for today's session is Mr. Ranbir S. Sedhe sir, who will be joining us shortly. A very pleasant evening to all the panelists and the participants connected with us. It is our pleasure to connect with you all. I welcome you all for today's session on the topic The Art of Writing Quality Research Papers, an IEEE perspective. I saw for this session is Mr. will join us shortly.
Can you hear me now? Hi, Sakshi, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I can hear you.
Cool.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Ranbir. Call me Ranbir, please.
Good evening, Ranveer. Professor Huda
Good
here.
evening. Good evening, Huda sir. कैसे हैं आप?
All well. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good, sir. I'm so sorry. I was on a call, so
I can.
I told them that I have a hard stop, but it
No,
just got extended like by just I was supposed to join like 15 minutes before, but it got extended. My apologies for that.
no issue at all. And
Thank you
Sakshi,
very
we
much.
can start now. Sakshi, we can start now.
A pleasant all distinct. Yes, sir. Am I audible?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're audible, loud
Yes.
and clear. Please go ahead.
Yes. A very pleasant evening to all the distinguished panelists and participants. Bharati Vidyapeeth's Institute of Computer Applications and Management, in association with Computational Intelligence Society, chapter of IEEE Delhi section, Computer Society, chapter of IEEE Delhi section, Technology and Engineering Management Society, chapter of IEEE Delhi section, System, Man and Cybernetics Society of Chapter of IEEE Delhi Section, Communication Society of IEEE Delhi Section, Consultants Network Affinity Group of IEEE Delhi Section,
We are losing you, Sakshi.
Member Affinity Group of IEEE Computer Systems of India, G Professionals, ISTE Delhi Section, and IETE Delhi Center as technical collaborator welcome you to the webinar on the art of writing quality research papers and IEEE perspective. It is a moment of pride and honor to announce that we, with united hand, mark special contribution for the monumental occasion Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, an initiative to celebrate 75 years of glorious independence by organizing the thought-provoking sessions for our better future. This webinar is an initiative
We completely lost you, Sakshi. I think there's something bad with the internet.
for primary priorities are technical standards, meetings, and publications. It also actively encourages open science concepts and methods within its community. Writing a quality technical paper is essential for researchers and professionals in the field of engineering and related disciplines. The webinar will also concentrate on how open access publishing option works for
Okay, I can't hear Sakshi anymore now. Dr. Huda, can you hear us?
Yeah, Mr. Ranveer, hearing both of you. Sakshi, if you can switch off your video and then speak.
Yeah, I think that would work.
Switch off your video and speak.
sure, sir.
Yeah, please go ahead.
I request Professor M.N. Huda, Director Bharati Vidyapeeth Institute of Computer Applications and Management and Vice Chairperson IEEE Delhi Section, to address the participants with his inspiring words.
Good evening, everyone. And I take this opportunity at the outset to welcome my valued speaker today, Mr. Ranveer, who has very kindly agreed to enlighten all of us that how and in which way we should polish and fine tune our papers. Of course, he is not going to give us the content of writing the paper, but he is going to give us the art of writing the paper. So how the art of writing quality papers, and that too the perspective of IEEE. So thank you so much, Mr. Ranveer, for having accepted our request and being with all of us. And this platform is again IEEE, IET, Bharati Vidyapeeth weekly evening, Saturday evening webinar series. So this is right the platform of IEEE on which you are. My dear friends, I also wanted to express my gratitude and thanks to all the participants and my friends from various professional societies and participants from all parts of the country for having attended and logged into this webinar for such an innovative topic. Dear friends, this is 125th webinar series of this IEEE IET BVI evening webinar series, which has been organized on a topic which is of prime importance to all of us. All of us implies the academia, the industry. Even if you are writing a white paper, these tricks are important. This basic understanding of paper structuring, basic understanding that what are the do's and what are the don'ts while writing the paper, so that finally the probability of its acceptance in a journal like IEEE, and not only IEEE, in other journals of high repute also improvise. That is how the purpose of this webinar is. So this is of great importance, not only to the teachers, not only to the students, not only to the research scholars, also to the people who are working with the industry. The second dimension of this today's webinar is that how we can collaborate with IEEE. How can IEEE is an ocean of publications, and the publications of IEEE are of the most reputed publications in entire world. The standards are developed by the IEEE are the de facto standards in the world. So how to explore that, how and in which way maximum benefit out of the publications, out of the standards we can avail from out of IEEE, and how we can collaborate for better projects, better research activities, better standards, better publications. That's the purpose of this webinar. So thank you so much to all of you for having joined. In fact, I also, for an important emergency meeting, had to come out of my office, of course, within Delhi, for some other offices. So I'm in between, I have parked and then talking to all of
Yeah,
you. And
visible.
we take this opportunity to welcome all the participants, and I'm sure once you attend this webinar with seriousness, certainly the way you were writing papers earlier and the way you will be writing papers now will be a whole lot of difference. And that probably, if even one paper gets accepted in IEEE, any of the transaction, that probably at least 5 years job is done. That's the kind of the expectation for the new authors. That is the kind of the
True.
expectation for the researchers. So let's go ahead with this. Dear friends, there are many other webinar series which have already been notified. If you have not registered, please register for them. Every week we are with the webinar, and register, because once you register will in huge numbers, that motivate us. And the live streaming of this webinar is also being done on the YouTube. Those who are not in a position to continue for entire 1 hour on this WebEx, they can even join us on YouTube. But please understand, the certificate will be given only to those participants who will be part of WebEx. And thank you so much. With this final concluding note, that फूलों की तरह फिर खिलेंगे हम, फूलों की तरह फिर खिलेंगे हम, और अगले सैटरडे एक नए टॉपिक के साथ एक
फिर
नए
मिलेंगे हम,
वेबिनार फिर मिलेंगे हम.
फिर मिलेंगे
थैंक यू सो मच. ऑल द बेस्ट,
हम.
एंड थैंक यू वंस अगेन मिस्टर रणवीर. बहुत बढ़िया.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Professor Huda. I think this is the first time that I have enjoyed the introduction so much. You know, I have had many sessions from last 5 years. It's been 5 years with IEEE now. I joined somewhere in 2018, but I think that's the only introduction that I have enjoyed. The way you have introduced me. You have mentioned so many different topics, and let me tell you that I may not be able to cover everything today. I'll stick to basics. Probably if you think that after listening my webinar today, you feel if I'm eligible for next Saturday, then probably we can have many more. But let's
Oh
let's
yes,
start with
oh yes.
basics.
Whatever, of course, the 1 hour is too short. Whatever you can cover,
Yeah,
please do that. But go as per your sequence. If
sure,
required, we'll have many more sessions from you.
sure. So today I'll stick to basics. I'll just stop sharing my screen so that we don't lose the internet,
Correct.
you know. And I'll share my screen. Yeah. Uh, can you see my screen? Can you confirm me if you can see my screen?
Yes, sir, your
Yes,
screen
sir,
is
it is
visible.
visible.
Yes, yes.
Thank you so much. Thanks everyone. I will start with Dr. Rakhi because she's the one who like I met her last week while president of IEEE, he was attending one of the session with IEEE Delhi section, and at that time I was introduced with Dr. Sakshi and then Dr. Huda, and sorry, Dr. Raki and Dr. Huda, and thanks to you, Sakshi, for hosting this. So my name is Ranbir Singh, and I'm IEEE staff in India. I'm based out of Delhi, Gurgaon specifically. I work from home. This is my home office. That's why I'm wearing a t-shirt and it's so I could see that some of the participants are saying that I'm not audible. Am I not audible?
Yes,
You're
sir.
very much
You are.
audible.
Okay. Okay, I'm audible now. Right. So typically, my team's role is to work closely with IEEE Explore team, is to spread awareness on the platform. The platform that I have already told you is a platform that encounters more than 20 million downloads every month, and there are uh, 10 to 11 million unique users that use this platform. This is not a search platform, this is a research platform. There's a difference between search and research. What we do on Google is search, and what we do on a publisher platform, I won't say that it is entirely IEEE. It could be Elsevier, or it could be ACM or ASME. That is called a research platform, right? So this is a quick heads up on the agenda, how we are going to spend next 1 hour. Since I'm meeting all of you for the first time, so I would like to take this opportunity to give you the brief overview of who we are and what we do. uh, since everything is related to Delhi section, IEEE Delhi section, so I know that most of you know who we are, but just because I'm meeting all of you for the first time, so I will leverage this opportunity to give you a quick introduction just on one slide, and then how we are doing on JCR. JCR is General Citation Report. Everyone is aware about it, but just to let you know that we are not the examiner. The examiner is Thomson Reuters, Clarivate Analytics. So we'll be able to see that how we have performed last year, what content we have for you, because when I say for you, you have a subscription to IEEE via Bharatiya Vidyapeeth's College of Engineering, Delhi. And that's the key account that we have, through which we have given you the subscription. And whenever you come to the library or whenever you connect to the IP, so you'll be able to access IEEE Explore via the subscription of Bharatiya Vidyapeeth's College of Engineering, New Delhi, right? And then, what is your research output? How much you have researched with us. That's not your complete overall research, but that's something that you have published with IEEE. So we will also go ahead and we will take a sneak peek. I will not go into detail, but I have prepared a slide which will tell you that how much research we have in IEEE under the affiliation of Bharatiya Vidyapeeth's College of Engineering and Technology. And then all thanks to Dr. Upasna, if she's listening to me, that she has been coordinating with all of us for the subscription, and for all the renewals and for all the usage report. She's our POC for this. uh, Open science is gaining a lot of traction these days. When we say open science, there is something called open access, and then there are traditional journals. How open science is different from open access and traditional journal, I have a slide on that, so we will also take a close look on that. And then we will come to the rest half of the session would be on art of writing quality research paper in IEEE perspective. At any point of time, you have any question, please drop it in the chat box. If it is pressing, I will answer there and then. Otherwise, I would request your patience so that we can, conclude this session, and then, I can go over all your questions, comments, or feedback. So who we are, I'm sure that most of you know about us, but we are the world's largest technical professional organization association of 400,000 individual members who are scattered in more than 160 plus countries. What is our mission? What is our mission? Our mission and vision is advancing technology for the benefit of humanity. How are we achieving this? We have close to 200 plus journals, active journals in our portfolio on different areas. There are fully open access journals, there are hybrid journals, that's the bifurcation. We sponsor and co-sponsor conferences. We technically sponsor, we financially sponsor almost 2000 conferences every year. That means 5 to 6 IEEE conferences are happening every day somewhere in the world. So if you are also interested to attend IEEE conference or to host IEEE conference, you have to go to the URL that says IEEE.org. IEEE.org is the URL that will give you the complete Bible of IEEE conferences. How do we, what's the eligibility criteria if you would like to, or you want to know the upcoming conferences in your vicinity. That is also, you can also understand through this URL, which is IEEE.org. We are also known as a leading standard developer. I'm sure that most of you are connected to this webinar through your laptop. you know so if you go ahead and try to understand the hardware configuration of your laptop, you would notice the Wi-Fi card which is installed in your laptop is built upon IEEE standard, which is IEEE 802.1, 802.1. And this is still an emerging standard. This is not the fully developed standard. We have been working on this standard from almost, I would say, uh, close to 40 years, and even in pandemic, more than 4 to 5 billion devices have been shipped on the standard. We do have ebooks. There are 9 robust collection of ebooks, and we also have e-learning courses. You have uh, other platforms like Udemy, Coursera. So we also have IEEE e-learning courses. There are 500 plus e-learning courses on the 16 technical areas that IEEE supports. That ranges from 1 to 3 hours, and also in 3 different stages: intermediate, beginner, intermediate, and advanced stage. And it will also give you an option to earn PDH and CEUs. PDH and CEUs are professional development hours and continuous education units. So these are some of the metrics or the numbers that you can always put on your biodata or curriculum vitae that tells that you have done an online course which is vetted by so and so reputed brand, like in this case, which is IEEE. So when it comes to technical spaces, IEEE is always on the top. But when it comes to impact factor, something which is not coined by us, which is coined by Thomson Reuters, also known as Clarivate Analytics, you know, and this is our report card for 2022. And as I said, we are not the examiner. The examiner is Clarivate Analytics. So you can see that on different categories, whether it is electronic and electrical, telecommunication, automation and control system, computer science, and cybernetics, IEEE is leading the scoreboard. Not just citation, but IEEE is also leading the patent citation. We keep a very close tab when our content is being cited in American Patent Office or European Patent Office. That tells us that how critical IEEE content is for prior art search and literature review. So all thanks to your library that you already have access. Though the access is limited, I will discuss about the scope of the access in my subsequent slide, but you do have access to all our conferences that can really help you in your prior art search and literature review. A lot of free resources from IEEE. One of the thing that I have created this slide because during pandemic we collaborated with the IEEE educational activities. That's one of the organization unit of IEEE, one of the working arm of IEEE, and with them we have created a lot of different webinars, not just on the platform but on different emerging and growing technologies, whether it is artificial intelligence or ethical engineering or cryptocurrency. So all you have to do is you have to click on this link and you can access these webinars at no cost. They are absolutely free, whether you are IEEE member, non-member, or you have access to IEEE Explore. No, you will be able to access all these webinars at no cost, and you can learn these webinars at your own pace because these are recorded webinars by the SMEs of IEEE educational activities, subject matter experts. So you can use this link to get an understanding if we have a list of webinars that resonate with your area of interest or area of research. And you can also use this link to register for any of our upcoming webinar at no cost, because we conduct these webinars on bi-monthly basis. So in case if you would like to explore this, so this is one of the things that I would like to recommend you. New journals and titles. This is also important because as I told you in the beginning, that every month we encounter 20 million downloads and there are 10 to 11 million unique visitors. So this encourages us, this motivates us to add new content to the repository, right? So these are some of the titles that we have added last year and the titles that are coming soon in 2023. The first three titles are already live, and the last three titles, I think we are soon going to make them live in next 1 or 2 months. These titles will be the part of your subscription as per the scope of your subscription. But before we understand the scope of your subscription, just wanted I just wanted to give you a quick heads up on the diversity or the variety of conferences that we have conducted last year. Uh, so IEEE conferences continue to address growing areas of research in new and emerging technologies. You can see that whether it is signal processing or communication or IoT or smart grid, the all the different topics that we have covered in all these different conferences, and all these conferences are part of your subscription. Now let's understand the nitty-gritty or the scope or the length and breadth of your conference, your subscription. So in IEEE Explore, we have journals, we have conferences, we have standards, we have ebooks, and we have e-learning courses. Out of these 5 to 6 content types, as of now, you have access to all our conferences. And let me tell you, as on today, we have 6 million full text documents. Out of 6 million, 4.5 million documents are coming out of our conferences, right? So you have access to all our conferences as of now, and you have to connect to the IP of your library or of your institution, and you'll be able to access all these conferences. You also have a complimentary access to 16,000 papers which are coming from 20 plus VDE conferences. These are VDE is one of the very well known conferencing organizing body from Europe, and the back file of all the conferences is from 2017. Every month we add 20,000 new article to our repository. Now, since you have access to almost, I would say, 80% of our repository, so I was intrigued to know that what is your research output as on today with IEEE. I'm not saying this is your overall research, but I was trying to understand that what is your research with IEEE as on today. So there's a slide. Again, the top author is Dr. Kirti Gupta, and I have a slide on her on my subsequent this one. The first paper was published in 2005, and as on today, you have close to 500 technical documents. 98% of documents are coming from conferences. There are 18 articles from journals. When I say journals, in IEEE 7 out of 10 papers get rejected, right? And that's the focus of today's orientation, or I would say session. And I have all the slides on the reasons and do's and don'ts and everything else. But yeah, these are the top publication title under the affiliation of Bharatiya Vidyapeeth College of Engineering, followed by the publication topic. The reason why I'm showing you these publication topics is just to make all of you aware that if any one of you is trying to write a paper on neural nets, or let's say internet of things or artificial intelligence or feature extraction, you have authors on the right hand side. These are not all the authors, these are just the top authors under the affiliation of your institution, Bharatiya Vidyapeeth College of Engineering, right? And of Dr. Kirti Gupta, Neeta Pandey. You may not know all of them, but you may know, maybe few of them or most of them, but they are affiliated to your institution. And in case if you really want to get a first-hand experience, so they are the people who can really tell you how to minimize the rejection rate when it comes to IEEE publication, journal publication specifically. So that's the you know this is called author detail profile page. Now the reason why I'm showing you this, if you can see on the top, Dr. Kirti Gupta has also published under K. Gupta. Now, because there is no fixed nomenclature when we are submitting a paper, in IEEE or any other publisher. Let's say in 2012 I published my first paper with my name Ranbir Singh. In 2013, I published my second paper with R. Singh. In 2014, I published my third paper with RS. So for the end user, it is very difficult to understand whether the entire publication is coming from the same author or not. How can we resolve that? As on today in IEEE, it is mandatory that you should have your ORCID ID, ORC ID. ORC ID is the Aadhaar card for all the authors. The way we have Aadhaar card in India, that's something that's your unique identification ID. So I would highly recommend that you should go to the org. Org ID is a different organization, you know, or a product of a different organization, that you should go and you should punch in your information, give understanding of all your, but orc id is mandatory in IEEE when you're submitting your paper, right? So coming back to this slide, so what we have done to make sure that if you're trying to search everything from a particular author, and you want to make sure that you are accessing their entire publication history, we have created an algorithm in the backend. All you have to do is just click on the author name. The moment you click on the author name, this is the snapshot that you're going to get in a jiffy. You will be seeing the author name with the picture only if they have submitted their picture during the submission process. If they are not submitted their picture, फिर आप उनकी पिक्चर नहीं देख पाएंगे. अगर उन्होंने पिक्चर सबमिट करी है, only then you will be able to see their picture. So in case अगर आप IEEE Explore में जाते हो and you are unable to see your picture, I would request you, please contact IEEE. You have to submit your picture, right? Then you will see their most recent current affiliation, all the publication topics. On these 50 publications, these are the all the publication topics, the citations that they have received, their co-authors, and followed by these 50 publications. Now, the reason why I'm trying to highlight these co-authors is, let's say that today I'm trying to write a paper on wireless sensor network, and I want to follow Dr. Kirti Gupta, but I don't see wireless sensor network as one of their publication topic. But it could be one of the publication topic of these co-authors. So this is an avenue for you to explore and to collaborate either with Dr. Kirti Gupta or with one of their co-authors. You can always send them an email that this is what I'm working, or let's say that you find that something that they're working is resonating with your area of research and area of work. So you can always send them the request for the collaboration. Open science initiatives. But before we go to open science initiatives, I think it is imperative and vital for us to understand what is open science. Is open science and open access same? The answer is no. Open science is a revolution which started by open science is not new. It is from last 15-20 years, I would say, maybe more than that. But recently this is gaining a lot of traction because there's something called Plan S started by China, and then it is also being heavily followed by Europe, and now it is spreading everywhere. Something called Plan S or Coalition S. What is this whole revolution or the project? The core objective or the sole objective or the epicenter of this project is that science should be freely available to everyone. It should not stay behind the paywall. You know, everything should be free. Now, how is that possible? That is only possible if we publish only in open access journals. What are open access journals? There are two kinds of journals, open access journals and traditional journals. Open access journals are those journals that allow you to hold the copyright of your intellectual property. That would definitely ask you to pay article processing charges, right, to the publisher, but you are the sole proprietor, you are the sole owner of your intellectual property. You would allow anyone to cyclostyle it, to make derivative out of it, or even you would allow to make commercial use of it. So that is open access. What is traditional? In case if you are at the uh, you know at the stage of your career wherein you feel that article processing charges is something that you cannot afford, or that's something that you are not getting help from the funding agency, and still you would like to, you want to publish, you want to research, then traditional journal is the option for you, where the publisher will not ask anything from you in terms of money. There's no monetary implications. So it is absolutely free. You will submit a paper to a traditional journal, and as long as you are not crossing the page limit, overlay charges, or the color charges, the research, that entire process will be free for you. So this is traditional journal, but the copyright will be with the publisher, not with the author, right? So that's traditional and that's open access. Now, what is open science? Open science is something else. Open science is when you're doing your research, you're making some lab notes, you're doing some homework, you're creating a data set, or there is some supplementary item, like it could be a presentation, a PPT, or anything that you think that you have used or you have created during the creation of that idea. It could be a data set, it could be an algorithmic code, it could be a presentation, or any other supplementary item. So that is the science, and you want to keep it open. That's why it is called open science. Now, open science can go with both the options, traditional journals and open access journal. Even in traditional journal, you can declare that is something that I would like to, anyone can access the data set and anyone can access the data and am I audible now? Because I could see there are certain messages that said there's no voice.
Yes, you are audible now.
Yes, sir, you
Thank
are
you.
audible
Thank you very
now.
much. Thank you very much. So there are various initiatives that IEEE has taken. The first one is Code Ocean. I'm not sure that you are aware about it. If you are not, so let me take this opportunity to give you an understanding about Code Ocean. What is Code Ocean? Code Ocean is a different organization just like IEEE. It is a not-for-profit organization. This would help you to create the reproducibility of your research, right? All you have to do is this provides you, the Code Ocean platform provides you a web-based cloud platform wherein you can write the algorithmic scientific code that you would like to attach with your article. The purpose of that code is to reproduce the output of the entire research. It could be, now as on today, it is not mandatory. But when we started this collaboration, I mean, we collaborated with Code Ocean, and I will tell you the objective of that collaboration. Initially, there were less than 20, 30 articles, but as on today, we have 600 plus articles, almost 600 articles with algorithmic scientific codes. And again, the purpose of these codes is to reproduce the output of the entire research. Now, on the right hand side, you see this is the IEEE Explore platform. And this is the segment of the article that shows that there is a code. Now, all you have to do is you have to go to the platform, which is www.codeocean.com. I have highlighted in yellow color. Sign up for free. Choose one of the programming language. There are 16 different programming languages, more than that. C, C++, Java, Python, R, Hash, MATLAB, etc., etc. And write your code. Once you are done with the code, once you have created the capsule, just give the DOI number of your article. The moment you give the DOI number, this code will start reflecting on IEEE Explore platform along with your article. Now, any end user, let's say I'm trying to, uh, access your code. This is the widget of Code Ocean. Any end user can run the code, this is the part of open science, can run the code, can download the code, and can also modify the code to see if their modification can bring some new result to the existing research. This is very innovative. This is cool. I would tell you, as of now, it is not mandatory. And yes, every article will not go with the code. Let's say that you're doing a survey article that may not uh, go, predominantly with the code, right? But if there are other articles, if you, that's a core technical practical article that would always have an upper hand if there's an algorithmic code. The second initiative is there's a platform called IEEE Data Port. You may not be aware about it. From morning to evening, we are inundated with data. We are producing data knowingly or unknowingly. No. This platform, which is a web-based cloud service platform that supports the data-related need of global technical community. This will help you in two ways. Number one, when it comes to data set, मेरा पहला सवाल ये होता है कि I want a platform जो मुझे data set का access दे सके. I need a database where I can access the data sets. The second is I have created my own data set. How can IEEE help me to upload my data set because I don't have space? So on this platform, we give you access to 3,000 data sets, out of which 40% of data sets are free, right? So 40 to 45% of data sets are open access data sets. At no cost, you'll be able to access those. The second is we give you 2 terabyte of space wherein you can upload, download, manage, store data set of up till 2 terabyte or multiple data set files at no cost. You can also upload your data set as a standalone data set, or you think that you have a paper in IEEE Explore and you would like to attach this data set as an open science in IEEE Explore article, please give the DOI number. This data set will automatically start reflecting in IEEE Explore. And this is fully integrated with Amazon Web Services that can really help you in your data mining and data analytical options, right? So the URL is IEEE-dataport.org. We also have a server, a free server on preprints. So whatever Gyan I'm trying to disseminate today is absolutely free because I'm not from IEEE sales team. I'm from a service team, right? So at any point of time, if you feel that I'm trying to sell you something, the answer is no. I'm just trying to uh, create your awareness on all the resources, different resources you may not be aware about it, right? So coming back to the slide, we have a platform called IEEE preprint server, which is ieee.techarchive.org. What is a preprint? The preprint is before you submit your article to the publisher, it is not peer reviewed. The moment draft version of your article is ready, draft version of your manuscript is ready, it is highly recommended that you should come and upload it on a preprint server. There are a lot of advantages. You will be given the date stamp, the timestamp, DOI number. You can start building on the citations. You can share it on a social media. You can quickly, gain the feedback on the draft version and claim the credit of your unpublished work. There is no peer review process. You will get accepted under 1 week. Under 1 week, you will be public, right? So I would recommend you that you should come and visit this preprint server. There are a lot of new ideas that you can get. It's always a good idea. The moment you think कि मुझे इस टॉपिक के ऊपर पेपर लिखना है, you know, it is highly recommended that वो लिखने से पहले आपको जितने भी प्रीप्रिंट सर्वर्स अवेलेबल हैं, चाहे वो IEEE का है, चाहे वो एल्सेवियर का है, ACM का है, आपको सारे प्रीप्रिंट सर्वर्स पे जाकर you have to run the query to understand if there is something already which is cooking on the gas stove, which is about to get published. That will give you an understanding and more thoughts that how you can further develop that research. That's what my understanding is, right? Again, I am not author, I am not reviewer, I don't have any editorial background, but the information or the knowledge that I'm trying to disseminate today is something that I've been trained from IEEE from last 3 to 4 years. Right? Anything that comes to your mind that I may not be able to answer it, I can always get back to you. I will go to the editorial board and get you the appropriate answer for that. Now, this is the platform that I am a very big fan of, IEEE Author Center. That tomorrow when I'll write an article, I think this is the first platform that I would consider, because this platform will give you A to Z of publishing, right from writing to peer reviewing to publishing. This is called IEEE Author Center, and the URL is ieeeauthorcenter.ieee.org. Right? There are a lot of free tools available on this platform. I can, speak more on that in my subsequent slide. But one of the flip side of this slide is this platform is that you'll be able to access a lot of video tutorials, free video tutorials. You want to know how to become a reviewer with IEEE? You want to know about best tips to write your article or how to respond to a reviewer? There are small video tutorials nuggets available on this platform, and this is absolutely free platform for all the, not for and for everyone, but this is very helpful for budding and new authors, you know. Now this is a snapshot of, I would say, 29 new fully open access opportunities that IEEE has created for all of you. IEEE Access is our mega journal that accepts manuscripts from 16 different technical areas. This is a fully gold open access journal with a very high impact factor, and the sub to pub time is under 4 to 6 weeks. Apart from this, all other journals are topical journals on a specific topic with their specific aim and scope. But IEEE Access is our mega journal. There are more than 1500 plus associate editors under the affiliation of IEEE Access. I have few slides on predatory publishers, but um, okay. I will not go into detail, but let's see that how much time I have. So it's already 6:50. Uh, Getting published can be challenging, although it's rewarding, but publishing process can sometimes be very challenging for an author. It requires authors to be extremely thorough in their research findings, follow the best practices, do their homework, and to learn the specific publisher requirement. The submission, acceptance, and publication process can sometimes takes weeks to months. That depend upon the journal, and we have to understand this thing that rejection is a very likely outcome, because the vast majority of papers that are submitted to the reputable scholarly journal will always get rejected. As an example, IEEE Access, the mega journal, the multidisciplinary journal that I was mentioning you, has 70% of rejection rate. that it receives for the consideration. That means 7 out of 10 papers get rejected. However, I feel that these quality standards and subsequent rejections are actually a benefit to the scientific process and the entire scholarly community. You know, in addition to raising the level of community of the corpus of scientific literature, authors also have the opportunity to take the feedback from the reviewing experts. That is the whole idea behind the peer review process, and take their work to the next level, and finally put it all together to publish a new and improved paper in a leading journal. Now, there are many publishers. I don't even say that they are publishers. They are they are like air, or they don't exist really, and they take advantage of this because there is always a pressure on the researcher or a faculty member or a government employee to publish, you know, and there are various reasons behind that. And these publishers, they offer quick and easy shortcuts to publications. Predatory publications, they are profit driven, and they always take advantage of the prospective author's desire, and they need to get published. And they would also offer guarantee of publication through a quick and easy process, which is called a fees. So they completely undermine the scientific process by skipping the whole peer review. There is no peer review process in predatory journals, right? And they virtually accept all the papers that were submitted to them. Now, why should you avoid predatory journals? There are many reasons that I have told you, and m- uh, my the main question is, how do they do that? They always try to confuse the prospective authors. They would use the word international. Like they'll say this is an upcoming IEEE international conference on so and so, and using these practices, they often mislead the researchers into thinking that they are the legitimate or the solicit research manuscripts, and they would always produce the flawed papers that of course would damage not only the author's reputation, but also it would be it would tarnish completely the reputation of the institution. Now, how can we spot these predatory publishers? And there are many red flags. Like, you get a suspicious call for papers. The first question that you have to ask yourself is, are you familiar with this journal? Are they sounding too overly formal, and they are practically guaranteeing you that, if you publish with us or if you submit your paper with us, you are surely going to get published. What do you understand about the reputation of the publisher? Are you familiar? Is this some publisher that really exists, or this is like a surrogacy advertisement, and that does not exist? What is the journal quality? There are a lot of matrices on which we can truly understand the journal. Do they have impact factor? Do they have eigen factor? Do they have article influence score? Even if they show that they have all these scores, why don't we go to Web of Science? Why don't we go to Scopus? Or why don't we go to DOAJ? To make sure that all these numbers that they depict are real, because everything is openly available in front of you. you know editorial board, are they listed online? Can you find profiles of the editors in Web of Science or Google Scholar or Scopus? Where are they indexing? Predatory journals would will have zero indexing in any of the known reputed organizations like Scopus or Web of Science or Directory of Open Access Journal, right? There is no peer review process. There is zero peer review process. They will simply accept your paper and they will publish it for sure because they are taking a fees. So let's not confuse predatory journals with open access journals, because in open access journals you'll have to pay the fees. Now when I say IEEE access has 70% रिजेक्शन रेट, इसका मतलब ये है कि 10 में से 7 पेपर्स जो हम लोग रिव्यू करते हैं, we are not charging anything for all those 7 papers. Only those 3 papers that are getting accepted, we are asking for the article processing charges. We are rejecting. The rejection rate of IEEE precisely is 73%. I am saying 70%, it is 73%. There is no fees on the peer review process. The fee only come to the option to go hybrid or to go fully open access. Definition, there is no defense. I will leave the slide with all of you. There's an article from Nature. This is the URL of the article that will tell you that there was an exercise done to understand the definition of these peer review journals, and there is a definition. You can go through this and probably this will give you a more understanding. But more or less, I think I have given you the understanding. Now, when it comes to author workshop, there are, many topics: publishing choices, choosing an audience, paper structure, submission guidelines, open access. Open access, I will already explain you, open science initiatives. So I will try to go through all these topics one by one, if not in detail, but I'll try to touch upon. So where you publish actually matters a lot, because you just don't want people to be able to find your research, but on top of that, they should also trust the research, you know. So we always try to find a reputable publisher and invest our time in knowing the readership of the publication, like who is the right audience. And you want to make sure that how available that periodical is, that can people access that periodical very easily. So in IEEE Explore, as I've told you, that we have over 14 million downloads per month. So not sorry, 20 million downloads per month. And there are 10 to 11 million unique visitors. So a lot of people come to IEEE Explore to have maximum of exposure. Now, let's come to the prestige factor. Nowadays, in modern world, many of us consider eigenfactor, article influence score as one of the major parameter while we are investing our time in any publication. So what are these? These are simply mathematical calculations to understand the popularity of the periodical with respect to the citation and particular time interval. But I would highly recommend you, please don't solely depend upon these formulas, as these are only the mathematical calculations. Please look at the reputation of the journal within the scientific community, like who is on the editorial board, what is the aim and scope. Because if some publication is recently published, it will surely take some time to build these different scores. Now, I always enjoy this slide when I'm presenting live, because I ask this question to the audience that, as per you, what is the difference between journal and the conference? And most of them, they say that Conferences are happening once in a year, journals are coming almost every second month. you know so the first step is to decide where you want to publish, in journal or in conferences, and this is very interesting and important to understand. Let's first talk about conference. Let's say that you're working on an idea and it's been 6 months and you only have partial results. You are stuck. You are unable to move your result any further. Can you submit your paper to the journal? The answer is big no. But yes, you can submit that paper to a conference. Even if you have a partial result, you can still go to a conference, because the whole purpose of the conference is to give you a platform where you can get the live feedback from the audience. It is to encourage you towards the publication. While journal articles are fully developed presentation of your work with their final findings, original result is presented, clear conclusions are made and supported by data. Conference article is shorter, vary from 4 to 5 pages, and journal articles varies from 8 to 10 pages. A journal article may have like 25 to 30 references, while a conference paper may only have like 5 references. Now, when we are thinking about what are other differences, when we are thinking about journal and conferences, IEEE journals are 3 times more cited in patent applications, as I have told you in my initial slides, and they have a very high impact factor. Now, because they are so prestigious, so we get a lot of submissions. When you have a lot of submissions, you have a lot of rejections. So a high percentage of submissions submitted to IEEE journals are rejected, and the peer review process is typically lengthy versus the conferences that are recognized worldwide, but the process is typically faster, because कॉन्फ्रेंस में जाने से पहले ही हम लोगों को पता है कि यू नो हम एक्सेप्टेड हैं कि नहीं, राइट? सो you very well know the 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 date that you're accept. I mean, you very well know whether you're going to a conference as a attendee or as a author to present your paper. But in IEEE conferences, एक चीज जो mandatory है, that is that if you're accepted in IEEE conference, इसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि आपका पेपर IEEE एक्सप्लोर में आ जाएगा. You have to be there to present your paper. If you are not, if it won't get published in IEEE explore. आप या आपका को ऑथर वहां पे पेपर प्रेजेंट करने के लिए होना चाहिए. अगर आप नहीं हैं तो आपका पेपर IEEE एक्सप्लोर में प्रेजेंट पब्लिश नहीं होगा. It will be still be the part of IEEE conference archive, I mean the conference organizing body, but your paper will not get published in IEEE. How to identify the journal? Now there are various ways. The first way is IEEE Author Center. IEEE Author Center, when you go to IEEE Author Center, there are many free tools. One of the tool is IEEE Publication Recommender. From this free tool, you can get recommendation on identifying the right journal. You just have to go to this white box, give the abstract of your paper, and this will give you recommendation on 3 parts: sub to pub time, open access availability, and impact factor, right? And it will also give you recommendation on the upcoming conferences. Coming back to this previous slide, there are ways that you can use IEEE Explore. If you click on this query, I'm going to leave the slide with you. It will run the query for you on the security of data. So from the left hand side, there's something called IEEE Explore Facets. Can you hear me now? I can see there's a message that says no voice.
Yes, sir, you are completely audible.
Okay, so I can see the message again and again. So just allow me 1 minute. I will change my network so that we make sure that I'm audible to everyone. Just allow me one or 2 minutes. Okay? Can
Sure,
you hear
sir.
me? Yeah, just allow me 1 to 2 minutes, huh? Yeah. Can you hear me now? Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. I've just swapped my network. Let's see if this works well. Yeah. So the second option that I was trying to tell you that can really help you to identify the right journal is that, I'll just, if I'll, yeah, just click on this link and let me just go to IEEE Explore. Yeah. Okay. Maybe there's some internet problem from my side. So I was trying to explain you is that there are other methods that can really help you to identify the right journal. So whenever you're searching anything on IEEE Explore, on the left hand side, there is something called facets. Under facets, you will be given access to the publication title. Let's say that uh, you're trying to search an article on security of data or wireless sensor network. So on the left hand side, you will get called top titles. So that will give an understanding that under which title this paper is highly published. Step number 2, you can always go to the most downloaded paper on that particular query. When you click on the most downloaded paper, I would recommend you to go to the reference section of that paper and try to see कि उस author ने किस paper को reference किया है. From there, you will get an understanding that that author has referred to so many papers and all those papers are published under which particular title. That's number 2. Number 3 is in IEEE Explore, we have something called more like this. More like this is a paper which is not a replica of the paper that you're trying to search, but something on the related technology. From there also, you can see that under which title this paper was published. Step number 4 is on every page of IEEE Explore, there is a dedicated browse menu. When you go to the browse menu, it will give you an understanding about, if you see, this is the snapshot from IEEE Explore. You click on browse, you go to journals and magazines, you will be able to access all those 200 plus journals, and then you can see this information about a journal. Right on this homepage of the journal, you can submit your manuscript. You can see how popular this journal is by understanding these different scores. And then if you click on about journal, this will give you an understanding about the aim and scope of the journal. This is very important क्योंकि 4 to 5 papers in IEEE Explore get rejected because वो गलत journal को submit कर देते हैं. उसका जो aim and scope है that is not matching. This is very important and I'm going to repeat this line again and again in my subsequent slides also. You have a thorough understanding of aim and scope and the subject areas. And this is accessible on the homepage of every journal that is there on IEEE Explore. All you have to do is just go to IEEE Explore, click on browse, click on journal. And when you click on the journal name, this is what you're going to get. This is very important. Now, what editors and reviewers are looking into your paper, looking for. And this is important because again, as I've told you that you have to have the understanding of the full aim and scope very carefully. And I would highly encourage you that you should read good number of articles from that journal that you're targeting to submit your paper to. A lot of people get rejection at very early stage because they simply submit to the wrong publication. So the moment you decide the title, आपको हर हफ्ते हर 2 हफ्ते में 4 से 5 आर्टिकल्स उसमें पढ़ने हैं ताकि आपको पता लगे कि ये जो एडिटोरियल बोर्ड है व्हाट इज देयर स्टाइल, what kind of papers they select. One of the example is IEEE transaction on consumer electronics. Now they only have 10% of the acceptance rate. That means 9 out of 10 papers get rejected, and out of 9, 4 to 6 papers are rejected because they were simply out of scope. I can still see that's some of the messages that they say that my voice is breaking. Am I audible? Can you confirm yes or no? Am I audible?
Yeah, you are
You're
audible.
audible.
Okay, because I could still see there are many messages that say that I'm not audible. Was I breaking before this? No, okay, thank you. Yeah, so one of the example that I was trying to give you is IEEE transaction on consumer electronics. Okay, that I've already given you. So the second thing is level. What do we mean by level? It can mean different things to different people. Now, one of the things that I have understood is theoretical versus practical, which sometimes is not even spelled out in the scope of the journal. You know, IEEE Power and Energy Society. That's in IEEE we have 39 technical societies. So अगर आप IEEE individual members हैं, तो please आप society भी join करें. That will give you more exposure. You know, there are 39 different technical society. Let's say you're working on AI or photonics or semiconductor. There is a different society for each and every technical area. So IEEE Power and Energy Society, 70% of their members are practitioners. So therefore, the publication that is produced by Power and Energy Society are only looking for the practical aspects, not the theoretical aspects. So if you are submitting a theoretical paper to PES, which is Power and Energy Society, you're definitely going to get rejected. Some journal within a specific field are result oriented, and algorithms are really core to it. So if there are no algorithms, your paper will get rejected. There has to be something new that move the field forward. You know, so if you are publishing a paper which is already published somewhere, let's say uh, that's no longer new. You know, someone asked me one day when I was presenting live, कि मैंने तो ये पेपर देखा है, this was in Turkish. Can I publish it in English? That does not mean that which language it was published in. It is no longer new. If you want to publish, rewrite it again, there has to be something new or novel to it. So the research always built upon research, and they always look where you're taking it further. How does the peer review process work? Now, I'm sure that most of you know about it, but this is a simplified example. This is not just IEEE. I would say this is a journal example. The moment you submit your paper, it will go under software for the plagiarism check, for the similarity check. And once it will pass that stage, it will be assigned to EIC. EIC is editor in chief. The core role, the sole role of editor in chief is to make sure that your paper is within the scope of the journal. If it is not, he will reject it. Peer review process शुरू होने से पहले ही वो reject कर देंगे. If it is, he will assign it to the associate editor. And the role of associate editor is to, again, you know, to make sure that so they will send it to the reviewers to make sure that 2 to 3 reviewers get back to them, and then he will conclude the reviewer's comment and he will give his final recommendation to the editor in chief. It could be accept, which is very rare, so it could be accept with minor and major correction, or with minor correction. So even if you make these changes, it will still go back and forth, and you might have to do this many times. The other is revise and resubmit. So where they saw some value in your research and they think that still it is worthwhile and that need a lot of work, so they will encourage you to go back and revise the whole submission process again. And the last stage is outright rejection, wherein they are not encouraging you to resubmit the paper. But what I feel that we are living in the era of teaching and learning, so you can still redo it, work on all the feedback that you have received from the reviewers, and you can resubmit it. Now, that this is my last slide. I do have many slides after that, but I have realized that the clock has already beaten us. It's already 7:20, right? So I will just do this one last slide, and then perhaps we can have more sessions in future on the paper structure. So this slide is important. One of the prime reason in India and in Asian countries why our papers get rejected is sometimes it is very poorly written. The grammar is not correct. The sentence structure is not right. It is haywire. How can we help? I mean, how can we resolve that? There are many paid and free services available, editing services available online. Why don't we take help from them? You can take help from your professors. You can take help from your teachers, your colleagues, your peers, your HODs, your English professors. And there's nothing unethical in that. You are not asking their help to create your paper. You have already created the idea, developed an idea, and you have delivered it. You are just asking their help to fine tune the language of that paper, right? And last but not the least, sometimes bad luck hai ki journal ka threshold bahut high hai, they only accept 10% of the papers, right? So that could also be one of the reason. So we do have slides, and I will send you, but perhaps I can get an opportunity to speak more in my in the future webinars, this Saturday series. With this, I will stop sharing my screen and I will open the forum for the questions. Over to you, Sakshi.
Thank you for the enlightening deliberation, sir. I'm sure would this insightful session would have enlightened the participants about the real life applications. There are some questions by participants which I would like to take up with your permission.
Sure. Sure.
So the first question says that what is the difference between citations, references, and bibliography?
All right. So citation. Let's first talk about references. When you're writing an article, जब आप article लिखते हो, so the research is always built upon research. You will refer. आप किसी जब article आपको let's say today today we have 6G or 7G. तो आप 6G के बारे में तभी रिसर्च कर पाओगे when you have understanding of 5G or 4G or 3G, right? So while you're writing in your article, you will say that so and so person has said in their article. So you're referring to their article. That is called reference. While you're referring to their article, what you are giving them in return is a citation. The number of time you will refer to my article, let's say Sakshi is writing an article and let's say because Ranveer has said this, so that's why I'm saying this. So while she will mention my name with the proper format, she is referring to my article and she is giving me one citation. The number of times she will mention my name and my article, the number of citations I will receive. So that will increase the popularity of my paper. And what Sakshi is doing, Sakshi is referring to my article, but her references are giving me citations. Now, this whole what is bibliographic information? Bibliographic information, which is also called metadata, it is the abstract of your article. On every publisher platform, there are two words. You have access to the full text or you have access to the bibliography. Full text का मतलब आप लोग पूरा आर्टिकल खोल के पढ़ सकते हैं. Bibliographic is you can see name of the article, name of the journal, name of the publisher, name of the author, and the abstract, not the full text. So that's the understanding on references, citation, and bibliography.
Thank you, sir. The next question, someone says, can we submit the manuscripts in two journals at the same time to save time if rejected by one of the journals?
No, that's beyond the practices, the ethical practices of publication. Once you have submitted your manuscript to one journal, you should never submit to the other journal. That's a big no.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. I now request Professor M.N. Huda, sir, to kindly present a certificate to Mr. Ranbir S. Sedhe, sir, as a token of our remembrance.
So thank you so much, Mr. Anvir. The session has really been very useful, and you started from how to identify the journal, how to structure your paper, to how the reviewers are reviewing paper and why reviewers are rejecting papers and why particularly IEEE reviewers are rejecting papers, and how authors should identify the predatory journal and why authors should not get into the trap of the emails and the kind of the call for paper for predatory journals. So much so that almost all later parts, everything were very interesting, useful to everyone. And I'm sure the people who have attended, close to 400 people have attended this your lecture, Mr. Ranveer, on live
Wow.
streaming YouTube as well as this Cisco WebEx. And I'm sure that this lecture and the recording of this will also be available at our YouTube channel, which is a standard repository. So close to 500 lectures, recorded video lectures are available at that YouTube channel. Sakshi will share the details of that YouTube channel right in the chat window. So this has been fantastic, and I'm sure the rest of the part which I had discussed and you could not discuss on account of the paucity of the time shall be discussed in any of the forthcoming webinar. I will come back to you with your convenient time slot and the date, and then we can organize that. So thank you so much. And this certificate and memento both are not for the purpose of certification, Mr. Ranveer. You are part of IEEE, and
Yeah.
this lecture series is right on the platform of IEEE Delhi section. but it is just for the purpose of remembrance that you have been part of such a lovely lecture on how to the art of writing quality research paper, and that too with IEEE perspective, the largest publisher of scientific and engineering documents in the world. So thank you so much. We'll meet again, and it must be of immense use to everyone. Dear friends, this meeting room is converted to now a facilitation desk. Please fill up the feedback form, and only those participants who will fill up the feedback form will be in a position to get the certificate. For other participants who have attended at YouTube at any other place will not be in a position to get the certificate. This memento, Mr. Ranvi, is again as part of your
Wow.
remembrance.
Yeah.
and
That's
and
thank you.
you
Thank
might
you.
have observed, that around 50 years ago people used to send hard copy of the papers. From there we have switched 100% online. Now even no big publisher accept email, not even email, they have to go and upload on the portal of
Yeah.
the journal. So like
That's
this, no hard memento, no hard copy of the certificate. It is all all electronic. This is part of the change, huh?
that,
So this
that's
again
very
the part of the same change. So thank you
that's
so
very
much.
nice of you. Thank you so much, Professor Huda, and thank you so much, Dr. Raki, and Sakshi, and everyone. I mean, thank you so much. I'm not sure that what I have delivered today, how much was worth of your time. I know that I was supposed to stop at 7 or 7:10, but I mean, perhaps I was like so, got into this topic, and my apologies that I have beaten the clock. But yeah, I mean, thank you so much for all your patience. Thank you so much, Professor Huda, and everyone on his team for inviting me and trusting me, because I have never interacted with them. I just met them briefly during one of the meeting where my president came to India, and I hope that this session would definitely be benefit to all the end users of IEEE community, or even non IEEE community, because what I feel, the slides that I've delivered today were not specific to IEEE, but that was the holistic overview of when you publish a paper, or when you even have the desire to publish a paper, these are the certain tips and tricks, or the certain platforms that can really help you. So with this, I wish all of you best of luck, goodbye, and a good weekend. It's almost Friday now, and I really hope that I get an opportunity from Professor Huda in their future Saturday webinars to speak more, or to complete whatever slides I still have with me. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone,
Sure,
and thank you
sure,
so much
very
for
soon.
having me.
And how useful your session was, that you can judge from the comments in the chat window. And I have
Yeah,
attended, though only the audio part I have heard, because I just kept the cover of the mobile on the screen. But
yeah,
it was so fantastic. It was so fantastic and so seamless, full of information, that it must have been of immense use to everyone. Thank you so much. And certainly for rest of the topics which we could not cover today, we'll come back with another date, right?
sure.
And dear participants, my team members, Sakshi, Piyush,